Hi, I'm Don Lekai, in-home tech expert and the owner of Help My Tech. In this Tech Potato series, I'll be talking to you about some of the issues that I encounter every day, including tips, tricks, scams, and common mistakes. Today, we're going to talk about something that you might have seen in the news recently, QuickTime.
Everywhere you turn, there are news reports saying that you must uninstall QuickTime immediately or the world will come to an end.
The United States Department of Homeland Security is warning Windows users to uninstall QuickTime.
What are we supposed to do? Is QuickTime actually dead? What about our cameras, video recorders, and other devices that need QuickTime in order to be able to function? In fact, if you're trying to edit videos and you try to handle certain web formats, it can't even work without giving you an error message. Well, if you look at the news reports carefully, you'll see that the actual warning is simply that using unsupported software may have increased risks of viruses and malware. And the only way to avoid that is to uninstall QuickTime for Windows. But if you look at the actual warning about the problems, it talks about QuickTime Player, not QuickTime itself. You need the QuickTime drivers for many applications in order to work. If we go back and look under Apple Update, we used to be able to get QuickTime, and now you can't even download it. There is a solution. You need to go to Apple's website. Now, you can't go to the old QuickTime website. That now gives you an error message and tells you it's no longer supported. You have to go to this special website to download the update. You click download, and once you run it, you need to check custom install, which of course you should always do. Never click default. That just gets you into trouble. Then you uncheck the QuickTime Player. This will only install QuickTime Essentials, which gives the codecs and other various API calls necessary for some of these programs to work. And of course, just out of principle, we'll disable the desktop shortcuts because we're not actually installing any desktop software, only background APIs and drivers. After doing the install, you might first try it and find out that you still get an error message. Well, the reason is that the operating system hasn't registered the drivers. You need to restart the computer. And once Windows has restarted, you'll see that we can easily drag video in MOV format into an application that requires QuickTime. But what if you already have QuickTime installed? Simply go to Uninstall Programs, find the QuickTime installer, and right-click on it. Then choose the Change option. Then choose Modify and remove the QuickTime Player all by itself. If you don't see this option, you need to go and uninstall the QuickTime Player and then reinstall it as shown before. Now your software that requires QuickTime should work just fine without the risks of installing the QuickTime Player. If you found it useful, please consider subscribing or follow me on Twitter at TechPotato. You can also visit my blog at techpotato.ca. Thank you for watching. This has been a production of helpmytech.ca.